Hello there, welcome to the Land Whisperer channel. My name is Chris and I'm a writer of short stories, and I'm also a spiritual land worker. Today I just wanted to give you a brief introduction about what the channel's about, and I think I'll start with my love of the megaliths, the stone circles that were left behind by our ancestors that we see populated throughout this country. And it's a fascination that led me to 10 years worth of research on the subject matter, both in archaeological terms, but also at the same time developing psychic gifts that allow me the opportunity of tapping into the stones and listening to the messages they want to give. The first few videos on this channel are going to be about Stanton Drew Stone Circle, which is not very well known, but it's a very large stone circle just south of Bristol in the west of England. And I'll talk to you about the archaeology in the context there, and I'll also talk to you about the psychic information that I got from the stones there. And it's quite a fascinating place. But then as we progress through the journey, we'll see that the journey expands and my interest expands, and I begin to take in information about the myths and legends that were left behind in the landscape, and how that also changed my spiritual practice to what I am today as a spiritual land worker. I aim hopefully to post once a week, but I'm going to be doing a spiritual pilgrimage whilst you watch those first few videos about Stanton Drew. And during that period of time, although you'll be watching that, I'll be walking on the pilgrimage. So I'll be out in the wilds and I won't necessarily have the opportunity to post, because I may run out of signal or I may run out of battery or whatever, but I'll do my very best anyway to do that for you. My spiritual journey, well, it first started in 2017 when I was first attuned to Reiki, which is a spiritual healing therapy. And I learnt that there was a very different way of viewing the world, even at the very early stages of the journey itself. But in 2019, I had a heart attack. And it was then that my spiritual journey grew exponentially. That recovery, I don't mind saying, was pretty tough. It would take me, for example, 30 minutes to walk a 5-minute journey up to the park, and all I could do was sit down and actually watch the bees pollinate the flowers. It was as much as I could do, really, during those first 3 months. But I did recover, slowly, that's for sure, but I learnt one of the most important lessons whilst I was in that period of recovery, and that is to slow down and to enjoy the smaller things in life. Because that's often where the truth is told to us. Eventually, I went back to work and I continued my spiritual journey by becoming a Reiki master. Things were beginning, as I hoped at that stage, to return to somewhat of a normal life. And then it hit. And of course, with it, the world changed completely for all of us. After the lockdowns, I visited Stanton Drew Stone Circle quite a lot. And as I was wandering amongst the stones, I suppose I could say that I found a sort of peace there. It kind of became a sort of weird second home to me, and I went there quite a lot. And as I did that, I began to connect spiritually with the stones through psychic information. Through a series of meditations and psychometry, which I'll talk about at length, I began to read some of the stones and understand that there were messages there for us all to listen to. And on it went like that, getting information from the stones, meditating, coming back to the stones. And I thought it would be continuing like that forever until autumn of 2024, when it all kicked off. I suddenly found myself running across the Welsh countryside on a quest, finding sacred artifacts, channeling extraterrestrials, channeling mythical beasts, and to this day I'm so surprised that it actually happened. I can barely believe it myself, but it did happen. And it culminated back at Stanton Drew Stone Circle, where it all began, and I had one of the most extraordinary experiences of my life to this date. I conducted a Reiki flow walk, which is a kind of shamanic ceremony. And after a night of clearing negative energy from the stones all night, I came face to face at dawn. They were the most benevolent type of beings that I've ever come across. Just pure joy and love. So that's where I'm going to leave it today, albeit a little bit short. But I will share with you the next time about the archaeology of Stanton Drew itself, which will give you a context to when I did that Reiki flow walk. So until next time, have a wonderful week. I pass you unconditional love, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.